With the Newcastle Herald, Eraring pulls the plug. Coal-fired power stations could be gone from the Hunter by 2030 after Origin Energy's shock announcement that it was closing its Eraring plant 7 years early in 2025. Workers at Eraring Power Station told the Newcastle Herald they were caught off guard by the speed of the closure, and Lake Macquarie MP Greg Piper criticised the lack of a government transition authority to make life easier for affected employees. This yarn is also making news on the Australian tomorrow. Our national broadsheet says dark day for power jobs. Origin Energy's planned closure in 3 years has sparked warnings of higher electricity prices and the loss of up to 1,000 jobs after the company rejected a New South Wales government rescue bid to lease the plant or pay for it to keep operating. The New South Wales government announced immediate measures to replace the nation's largest coal-fired power plant, which accounts for 20% of New South Wales generation capacity, and underwriting the construction of a 700 megawatt battery to be completed by 2025 when Eraring ceases operating. Ollie, this story is going to have a lot of people up in arms tomorrow. What do you make of it?
I think in the end, Jenna, it's the companies which are governing themselves, aren't they? It's basically go green or the lights will be turned out anyway. It's something that I think the political parties have ultimately dawdled on in the end. And I think that there will be, a lot of outcry on Friday, particularly around job losses and insecurity and the idea, hey, you might be paying a little bit more to turn your lights on or to make sure that your food is cold in your refrigerator. But I think we're going to have to just grapple with this now head on, and we have to accept it. So this is really forcing the hand of government. It's going to force the hand of the political parties as well to be definite in whatever path they're going to go forward with renewable energy. And we're going to all have to quickly get on the train. Otherwise, we're going to be fighting a losing battle.
With, I guess, Eraring sort of closing down, do you think this is going to make other smaller players, potentially New South Wales and maybe even Queensland, start thinking, well, maybe we have to, like you say, get on the train to green earlier? And could this potentially spook a lot of coalition voters in those areas?
Potentially. I mean, there's still a lot of rusted ons. So it does isolate some particularly coalition voters, as you mentioned there, Jenna, and national seats in particular. So this is really going to wedge the coalition. But if you look at obviously where we are, look at the big miners over here, BHP, Rio Tinto, FMG, they're really now putting down and throwing the gauntlet down to all the other mining companies as well about going green. So again, this is something that business is now leading. A government's got to almost catch up to business or set out some really clear policy directions, which the Australian people will ultimately not have too much of a say to get on board with, because Labor and Liberal end up looking the same with their green policies. But there's so many internal rumblings that this is actually quite a fascinating move, particularly as May is so fast approaching.
Yeah, indeed. And look, I found it really interesting that today, tomorrow, Adam Bandt has decided to maybe stick his head above the pulpit, because the headline says that Greens target gas and coal seats. I guess that wasn't really much of a surprise. We saw it in 2019. It didn't end too well